This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Nurses become nurses because we care about people, and we should care about people regardless of their skin color.
From the front lines of the pandemic to the front lines of Portland protests, local healthcare workers have been downtown in the massive crowds, and they say it's to fight against systemic racism.
And then later, a story of the hope that is around during this pandemic. A coastal community in Oregon is successfully squashing a COVID outbreak. We'll tell you how they've turned it around.
And if they're forced to go back to work, it is really putting their life on the line.
Talking about Oregon teachers who are urging Governor Kate Brown to not reopen schools. Hundreds of local teachers rallied in Salem demanding that schools don't reopen until it's safe, and they have a very specific timeline in mind for when it would be safe. This is Tuesday, July the 28th. Brenda, Nina, we have the return of a friend to the show this morning, Mr. Rodney Hill.
Yes, exactly. Welcome back, Rod, and you brought
Hello.
the heat.
Oh my goodness! We were over in Sun River last week, and of course over there it was mid to upper 90s every single day we were there. But kind of unusual to return to that at home, right? We have clear skies from the Wells Fargo building this morning. Early morning temperature is at 62. We will be taking the edge off of the heat, so to speak. So by the way, officially at PDX at 419 yesterday, it did in fact get up to 100 degrees. So that was back-to-back days. Today, notice still hot, but not as hot. 62 now, 80 at lunchtime, only around 90 for a high. Only 90! Come on! All right, we'll have your complete 7-day coming up.
It's going to feel good. All right, Rod, thank you. Every morning for the last 60 days or so, we have been telling you what happened overnight in downtown Portland while the majority of us were sleeping. That's how long we've seen demonstrations there play out. So here's what happened last night. A group marched downtown, speakers taking the stage, others met at the federal courthouse, the place where we have seen a lot of those clashes take place. Police say some started a fire inside of the fence. Others threw rocks, bottles, and launched fireworks yet again. Federal officers did respond by firing tear gas into the crowd. Portland police say they didn't use any tear gas, but they did arrest a teenager from Gresham. They say this was after they got reports after midnight of people walking down the middle of the street, throwing things at cars passing by.
More federal law enforcement is coming to Portland. That's according to the Washington Post and OPB. Now protesters are going to court to try and get those officers out of the city. Don't Shoot Portland and the Wall of Moms groups are suing the Department of Homeland Security. They argue the federal agents are violating their First Amendment rights and using excessive force. In the meantime, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler and City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty are requesting a meeting with DHS. They want to discuss what they are calling a ceasefire to end the federal presence downtown. The Trump administration sent federal agents to the city on July 4th. There are currently 114 of them protecting the courthouse. Well, one group of healthcare workers really stands out during these nightly demonstrations. They're often in front of the federal courthouse in their scrubs. So what's drawing them from the front lines of the pandemic to the front lines of these protests?
Well, Brenda, that's a question that KGW's Morgan Romero asked several of those healthcare workers directly. They told Morgan that they see the consequences of racial inequality even among their patients.
In light of George Floyd's death, Travis Nelson couldn't sit idly by.
I realized that I could have been George Floyd, that could have been an officer's knee on my neck. And so I felt that it was important to get out and protest and bring attention to the cause of Black Lives Matter once again.
More than 60 days later, he's still out there almost every single night. As a Black man and a nurse, Nelson has plenty of reasons why.
Nurses become nurses because we care about people, and we should care about people regardless of their skin color.
He stands alongside hundreds, even thousands of other healthcare workers to fight back against systemic racism.
It's called systemic racism for a reason. We have systems that need to change, whether that's in law enforcement and how we approach that, or whether it's in healthcare and how we approach racial disparities in healthcare. I think we're beginning to see some of the change, but I don't want us to lose focus as a country, as a state or here in Portland, we need to keep that focus on Black Lives Mattering.
Over her decades-long career in ERs and ICUs, Adrienne Enghouse says she's seen inequities in access to care, health outcomes, even employment.
And that's why I think you see so many nurses and other health professionals, doctors, techs, professionals out here, because that's our training. We advocate for people all the time, and the system fails them.
She says she's looking to go a step further by using her skills as a volunteer medic at the protests, much like Chris Wise.
We all have our own skill sets and we can all do what we can to help make the world a better place, and I hope that this is a way that I can do that.
By using his EMT training and treating demonstrators hurt in Portland streets.
I've seen multiple people with just wounds where they got hit in the chest with canisters of tear gas. That's not how they're supposed to work.
While trying to treat people, he and a few other volunteer medics say they were hit.
I've been shot in the leg trying to pull somebody out of tear gas. I got hit in the head last Tuesday with a tear gas canister. I still have a concussion.
He and the volunteer medics in this video teamed up with the ACLU of Oregon and filed a federal lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals Service, and the city of Portland.
I believe that that is in a coordinated effort to make it so that, we have less medics, that people don't want to come out.
They argue acts like this violate the Constitution.
As African Americans, we're not treated equitably and fairly. I'm going to be at the Justice Center as often as I can, as long as people are putting themselves in danger, as long as people are getting hurt, as long as people are firing tear gas canisters, rubber bullets at them.
Morgan Romero, KGW News.
Those healthcare workers represent just one storyline at the nightly protests downtown. Right now, though, we want to take you to Northeast Portland and the Grant Park neighborhood. That's where vandals apparently targeted a law firm that represents the city's police union. Bricks were thrown through the windows there. Graffiti on the outside of the building reads, "Lawyer Scum." So we spoke with one of the lawyers who works there, and they told us this is not an isolated incident.
What this is all about is the fact that our law firm has represented the Portland Police Association for 40 years. That's why the lawyer scum reference and all of that. And actually there was another law firm that does exactly what we do down in Sacramento that had the same thing happen to it last night. And it seems like an effort. The only thing I can think is this is an effort to intimidate us to stop representing police.
Staff at that law firm believes the vandalism was done either Saturday or Sunday night, but despite the damage, their office is still up and running.
Now to the latest on the spread of coronavirus in Oregon. Yesterday, no new deaths were reported, but there were plenty of new cases, 340. And as you can see from the chart, the average of daily infections has been steadily rising since June. The bulk of the new cases are in the metro area, 119 in Multnomah County, 61 in Washington County. Umatilla County to the east is also experiencing a steady surge, 47 cases reported there yesterday alone. Now to the nation's capital, where Republicans are unveiling their nearly $1 trillion coronavirus relief plan. It includes another round of stimulus checks to some Americans, but it also brings the weekly unemployment assistance from $600 down to $200 as a boost. The GOP bill faces steep opposition from Democrats. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden called the proposal a punch to the gut and a slap to the face to unemployed Americans, calling for a full extension of the supercharged unemployment benefits. Final stage trials are underway in the biggest COVID vaccine study so far. The first of 30,000 volunteers received their dosages at sites across the country. The vaccine was developed at record speed by the National Institutes of Health and drug maker Moderna. Dr. Anthony Fauci says there is a possibility we could have a vaccine by November.
The safety data thus far looks good, but now it's crunch time. We're trying to figure out, does it actually work?
Presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden called for President Trump to commit to no White House involvement in the development of a vaccine. All right, let's take a peek outside at the Wells Fargo Skycam. Another gorgeous sunrise on your Tuesday. Yes, we officially hit the triple-digit mark late yesterday, and that is the first time in 3 years. Let's bring in Rod Hill now for more on our temperatures. It's going to feel a little better today.
Yeah, so August 2nd, 103, August 3rd, 105 of 2017. That's the last time that we did back-to-back 100-degree days. And let me tell you, thank goodness it was 100 the last 2 days. Why? Because today's 90. You won't feel that bad, right? Okay. I do want to show you Futurecast behind me. Here's Bend. This is at 6 p.m. this evening. There's Pendleton up to the north. And we had some thunderstorms fire around Mount Bachelor yesterday. And we saw some of those clouds in the sky here in the Rose City last evening. This shows whatever storms develop late afternoon, early evening quickly fade away. This is 10:30 tonight across eastern Oregon. You can see some clouds south of Pendleton, but really everything quickly fizzling. So just note that that's out there. All right, real quick, I got to get you to your forecast. 62 degrees right now in Portland. And everybody's, fairly toasty. Newport 39, that can't be right. That temperature's not right? It's cloudy in Newport, in fact, right now. All right, 7-day numbers, 90 today, 93 tomorrow, 93 Thursday. Maybe a thunder shower Thursday morning. Clouds to sun this weekend and about 80 degrees. I'm Rod. I'm glad to be back. That's your forecast.
Yeah, that weekend's looking great. Thank you, Rod. Sure didn't take long for this to happen. Baseball has been, back less than a week? Yeah. And the league is already struggling with a coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah, basically played 3 days worth of games, Brenda. But it could soon be a case of it was nice while it lasted. A couple of games have already been postponed. The real problem exists within the Miami Marlins. That team is experiencing a major coronavirus outbreak, but their cases are quickly impacting other teams. So we're going to fill you in on all of this MLB news in just a few minutes, but we're also talking after the break about Oregon teachers. They want a safe return to classrooms, and they took their demands to the state capitol. Bottom line here, these teachers don't want schools in their counties to reopen until they see 14 straight days of no new cases.